And welcome to Top Talk with me, Emerald. So I think this is like our 6th or 7th episode, and I am super jazzed because as you can see next to me, thanks to technology, I have a really great friend of mine joining us. His name is Emmanuel Paul Sterling. He's fabulous. He currently resides in New York City by way of Louisiana. He and I have known each other for about 5.5 years, and he just always keeps me on my toes, reminds me of what's important in life. So I've asked him to join us today. Emmanuel, say hey.
Hey.
So he's going to weigh in on some of the topics today. Well, first of all, as always, let me just tell you what I'm drinking. I've got my glass here. I've actually drank a lot of it already. Tonight, I am drinking a briny melon goza. It's a beer. It's a sour beer, and it's so good right now because it's so hot down here in North Carolina. I don't know what it's like in New York. Is it hot there?
It's pretty warm. It's pretty warm.
See,
I'm a Louisiana boy, so I love it.
It's warm, but it's hot here. It's like like you said, you're from Louisiana. It's like 96 degrees here, and then it's rainy, so it's sticky and humid. I can't stand it.
No.
All right, so let's pour some tea, some lemonade, and whatever it is that you decide to drink tonight. First of all, can we just talk about how the Republicans then really fucked up, right? Because they didn't let Donald Trump get this nomination. Now they are scrambling to figure out if they could find a new nominee just in case he self-implodes, which he's doing a very good job of right now. Like, what is going on? And how come nobody had the wherewithal or the foresight to say this could happen? Maybe we should pick a non-lunatic as our nominee? Like, I don't get what's going on in the GOP right now.
Embarrassing.
They are, and they're embarrassing themselves, and they're splitting their party apart, which is really unfortunate. I mean, it really is, because it is, you know, as they like to tote, the party of Lincoln, and it could be a great party, but it's getting out of control. So good luck with Donald Trump, y'all. See if y'all can keep a lid on that one. Drake. So, everybody loves crying ass, light-skinned ass Drake. Singing ass Drake. Views ass, whining over Rihanna ass Drake. So, how about so we already know that he was feuding, and he was feuding with somebody out of Eminem's camp. And somebody said, you know, well, what if M came for you, right? And Drake was basically like, oh, I'll have something for Eminem if M comes for me. This is me paraphrasing, obviously. So, obviously, the Twitter sphere, like, went in on him. Like, Drake, are you challenging Eminem? Are you challenging Eminem? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine him challenging Eminem? Like, he would get slaughtered. At least the Eminem that I remember, he would get slaughtered. Now, I don't know what Eminem has been like in the last 15 years. I don't know if anybody can speak on that. Emmanuel, you know where Eminem been?
I mean, have you even seen 8 Mile?
I don't know if he's seen it. That's a good-ass question. Shit. That's a good-ass question. So, all I'm going to say is, Drake, I love you. I'm going to talk about you because you light skin, and that's just what I do. But please don't come for Eminem, because I don't want him to murk you. I really don't want that to happen to you. So stay in your lane, homie. That's right. Lastly, real quick, the Olympics started. Woo woo! Go Team USA or Team whatever. I'm just Team Serena. Let's just be real about everything. I'm just Team Serena. Check it out. It'll be going on for like the next 5 weeks. So, you know, hopefully don't nobody swallow no water that's got a flesh-eating virus or bacteria in it. Don't nobody get Zika. Hopefully nobody gets pregnant. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things that they have to worry about. Hopefully none of the stadiums collapse on anybody. Like, there's just so many things going on right now in Rio that it could be a disaster. But praying for the best. Okay, so let's get into it. Our top story tonight is about Corinne Gaines, and I'm going to be real brief with this because I'm really pissed off about it, as I think a lot of people are, although some people are not. But let me give you some facts. Corinne Gaines, African-American woman, 23 years old, mother of two, a 5-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, out of Baltimore, Maryland. So she was being issued a warrant for various traffic violations. She failed to appear in court. And so police show up at her door, and they knock, and there's basically a standoff for like a couple hours. She won't let them in. She's like, go away. And then after a couple hours, they come in, they say with a key obtained by the landlord, but things are starting to look like that is untrue. Looks more like they brought in their SWAT team, they kicked her door down, and then they opened fire. And they have admitted that they fired the first shot, saying that then she reciprocated shots. At the time, her son was nearby. They ended up shooting her son. He survived, and they ultimately ended up killing Corinne. She is the 9th black woman to be killed by police in 2016, and we're in the 8th month, so that's 1 a month at this rate.
Emerald, I just want to say I love you as a black woman, as a mother. This is disheartening. This really hit me this week, and I haven't said that enough to my black sisters. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been, and you know, you and I have talked about this. Like, I feel like the grief on this one has been very different for me. And I've said it. I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it of like protecting my children. I know one thing though. What this is pointing at is the militarization of our police forces. Before we even get to what Corinne did, before we even get to the fact that she may or may not have been holding her son, that she may or may not have been, that she was aiming a gun at them, before we even get to that, the fact that they thought traffic violations warranted a SWAT team is a problem. SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics, basically. The fact that they thought that she was such a menace to society that they kicked her door in, that's a violent act. They know kids are in there. They don't know who was standing behind that door. That's a problem. The fact that they shot first, knowing that kids were in there, before she shot, they admitted they shot first. That's a problem. So these are 3 things that need to be rectified, talked about, and accounted for before we even get to the fact that she may or may not have a gun. And like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but it's just something that I feel like as citizens, we aren't saying that all police are bad. We aren't even saying that the majority of police are bad. We're just saying we have to look at our tactics and how we are working together in this, because we have entered into this idea of a social contract. You know, we as citizens, we pay taxes to the government and we expect goods and services in return. And one of those services is law enforcement, for you all to protect and serve us. But at what point can my social contract be null and void? Because I don't feel like I'm getting what I need to get from you. I'm still paying my taxes. I'm still doing these things, but I don't feel protected or served. So you're not fulfilling your end of the contract. At what point can I say I am sovereign from law enforcement because they are not fulfilling their end? And I think that that's a real thing. Corinne, she felt that way. She felt like she was sovereign over herself from law enforcement. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to speak over the dead like that. But I get it. I understand how you could feel like I'm not getting in return what I am paying for. We're scared. We're simply scared of police. And part of it is this idea of militarization and how over traffic violations and a 2-hour standoff, you thought it was appropriate for you to bring a SWAT team in, kick my damn door down, and then shoot at me and my children. That is a problem.
Huge problem. Traffic violations.
So, I'll stop because I get worked up. Let me take a drink. Give me a second.
I'll take one too. That is messed up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you all been waiting. Cultural appropriation. We're back. This is our social justice or bust. Thanks for bearing with me as, you know, we had the conventions to get through and talk about kind of the circus that is our political system right now. But just as a reminder, I'm going to give you a quick summary, again, kind of shorthanding. Cultural appropriation is when the dominant group or culture uses or exploits parts or pieces from minority groups and cultures. And this can mean anything from fashion to dance, music, folklore, medicine, language. And they use it in a way that, one, it doesn't give credit to the originating culture or group, and two, somehow they are the majority group is popularizing these things as if the minority group, you know, didn't come up with this stuff. So again, that's kind of the shorthand of what cultural appropriation is. I really wanted to take a moment to talk about cultural appropriation in the LGBTQ community, in the gay community. And I'm actually, because I am not a member of that community, I'm going to turn over to somebody who is, because I like to know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know, I'm the first to admit it. So, Emmanuel, what you got for us?
Yes, honey. Where do I start? You want to see? Because it is real. It is real in this world. I'm going to quickly start with a story. I am a fan of dating apps. Some might call them dating apps. Some might call them hookup apps. Let me just put it out there. I'm a fan of those. And I recently was on Grindr, which is an app. If you don't know it, look it up. And honestly, I've heard from a few of my friends how they are often approached by white men who lead with stereotypes. So honestly, it hadn't happened to me. Actually, it hadn't happened to me in a while, but a few weeks ago, someone messaged me on this app, and the first thing he said was, "What's up, Poppy?" Now, if you don't know, I do live in Spanish Harlem, so the term Poppy is often thrown around for someone you respect, yes, but of the Latino descent. What up, Poppy? So I was, first of all, taken back by that. But his second comment was, "How hung are you?"
Oh, okay. That's subtle.
Let me just break it down for you. How hung are you? So, honestly, like I said, taking it back to stereotypes, how automatically assuming that as a black man, that I have a penis size large enough to please them. I just put it on there, that's what how hung are you meant. Automatically assuming that I was hung. Now, I just blocked him and kept it moving. I actually am excited to share that I'm 5 days off the app.
It's so good.
Doing some removal, clearing things up. But recently, I got off the app because when you talk about cultural appropriation and things that are happening, I think the biggest thing for me is the lack of visibility around black men in the spaces that the world is creating. So recently, this show that came out called Looking was made into a movie.
Yeah.
HBO series, love it. Thank you, HBO. I was really excited to see it. But there was 0 black men casted in this movie. Like in the movie, I could not believe that black gay men. Let me leave with black gay men, because there was a black actor who did play the role of the girlfriend who was the best friend of the gays. Like, he played the role of the straight man. But there was, like, what happened to the black man in that movie?
So let me ask you this. Because this is from, as an outsider to the community, although I feel like an ally, so I have a part.
Thank you.
of the community, but I can't claim myself an ally. I have to be told I'm not. Anyway, it seems like, in particularly when it comes to white gay men, a lot of the culture, in particular the language, like we talk about, like, I mean, you know the language, you know the slang that we use all the time when we talk about.
Yes, honey.
Yes, like, exactly, like, and work and all that stuff, and that feels like that's coming from us, right? And not just you as a black gay man, that's also coming from me as a black woman. Like, these are things that are in our community. And so how is it then that these things are being used regularly in the idea of, like, popping your ass and twerking and all this stuff and talking about you got an inner black woman and all these things, all this sass, but then you don't even appreciate the black man in the community. Like, I that's what gets me.
Emerald, do not make me get started with the not into black men. Like, on these damn apps, you talking about, yes, honey, hashtag not into black men. Really? And honestly, this is not something that's new. Thank you, Harvey Milk. I appreciate you. I love you. But be our rest and please. There were people that have come before you. If you have not seen Paris is Burning,
right?
I need to go check that out and learn your history. But that is often the time. That's what often happens. And honestly, I use looking as an example through HBO because that was the most recent. But A-List Dallas, A-List New York, all these shows that came using the language that comes from our community that they're just taken and made their own. I think that, you talk about this cultural appropriation and what it means and not giving credit. I think that has been the largest the thing that has made me most upset when the credit isn't given. Yes, we all love Empire. It is a great show. Where's the credit? What, like, people, like I'm saying, like, I saw so many people. I love the show. I love the show. Do you know the underlining, like, what Jamal went through to come out? Do you know what Jamal was experiencing? And I think those are some of the things that just go over their head. And honestly, it's really upsetting. It's upsetting for me. And it definitely doesn't help that it continues to perpetuate in popular shows or shows that people try to make popular. And honestly, if they haven't noticed, Looking only had 2 seasons and it's gone. A-List Dallas, A-List New York did not live. So while you might be taking from my community, you can never do what I do.
And listen, that is the honest to God's truth. And I will say this, because I know our time is winding down. Y'all know I only like to keep it for about 20 minutes. I will say this. The point of mentioning this is not to say that you can't like who you like. If Beyonce and Rihanna and Whitney and Diana, if they give you life, honey, then get your life from them. I appreciate because they give me life. If you like to twerk, then twerk. If that's how you get your exercise in, I probably should do more of it, okay? All I'm saying is, speaking on behalf of Emmanuel and others, and I'm sure he can speak for himself, you cannot like our culture and then turn around and diss us. Whether that's in the gay community or in the straight community or just in the world in general. And that's what I say. You are appropriating our culture, but as human beings, we aren't good enough. If Beyonce is good enough for you to get your life from, then you cannot have hashtag not into black guys. I'm just going to put that out there.
Emerald, I love it. I love what you just said. And honestly, what I felt the most is oftentimes I have to remind them that I'm not your fetish.
Okay.
I'm not a fetish. Like, I want to lead with I'm not a fetish.
Okay. Bloop. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up. My final thought, actually, is a quote, and I'm going to read it. So y'all are actually going to see me reading from my phone right now. But it was such a great quote I saw today on Instagram. And it just reminded me that as a black woman, I don't have to fit into this mold, right? So it says, despite what everyone told us, black girls can be weird. Black girls can be sad. Black girls can be soft, hard, vulnerable, and shut down. We're allowed to have emotions and express them. We're allowed not to conform. Black girls can be rebels. We are allowed to spend days crying and then suddenly be filled with joy. Black girls are allowed to have tattoos, piercing, and all this wild hair. We're allowed not to talk white. The hood does fuck with us. Black girls can shine though. We can have dreams, aspirations, and be optimistic. Black girls are magic, and we are allowed to show that magic daily in more ways than just our ability to endure. And the reason I wanted to read that is because that is for Corinne. Because she was different, and she was optimistic and had aspirations in so many other ways that we will never know, because she was just supposed to endure the shit that was put on her by this country. And we're just not standing for it anymore. So that's my final thought. Emmanuel, thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I love you.
All right, guys. Until next week, keep sipping. Cheers, Emmanuel.